50-year period, and into one package. So that there's my films, and there's my studies in weaving, and music I recorded, and of course my photographs. And if you get a chance to look at the book, or if you get a chance to get the book even, it's not like a travel book. Each page has some kind of complicated issue, a dialogue between one picture and the next. And it was meant to be that way. It's not like, here's Peru, wow, and goodbye. It's broken into different chapters. But I guess you're all aware of how it's laid out. It comes in a box, and in the box is these 1, 2, 4 books, or 4. So this one is all full of textiles and weaving. This one has 5 of my films in it, all about, again, Peru. This has 3 CDs of the music, and it's not the kind of music you hear in the streets of Peruvian bands. It's very traditional music, and it's some traditional popular music, and some is from very remote areas. And
from the Smithsonian Archive, that stuff, original stuff?
Well, actually, the Smithsonian has it all.
Yeah.
Well, they have most of it. And actually,
it's his stuff.
What's that?
It's your stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. It's that part of that collection.
Yeah. But there is another series on folkways on Smithsonian that a guy in Peru made. Most of my recordings were done in 1964, which is a long way back. And with no grants, and then this guy got grants from the Ford Foundation, Raul Romero, and he did a good job, but I still think about it. It's good. And so you have the music, and then this book of my photographs, and that's really the centerpiece. And there's this wonderful publisher in Germany named Steidl. He does a lot of great photography books, and somehow he and I hooked up. It took me almost 2 years to get together with him, and then this past year I've been there 4 times, talking about it, planning it, designing it, watching the printing, adding things. It's really it's not just a product that he put out. It's a real involvement. And I was going to say that there's chapters. It's like a book, but it does have some writing. Like get the names of the chapters would be easier. Yeah, there's an introductory section, and then there's Cusco. Cusco is a city that probably you're all Peruvianists. It's about street photography. The street photographer is there. But then I had a chance to explain what a street photographer is in Peru and what we here in America consider street photographers. And the next section is White Man's World. And it's what the Indians see, how they perceive and look at us, and what they view us to look like. And it's a lot of them wearing masks, acting like white people. And then the next section is Indian stones, Inca stones and Indian lives. So I'm making a comparison between the beautiful stonework of the Incas, which is still all around and the Indians all know about it, and then the lives that they live today. And dealing with that connection visually. And the next chapter, I wrote a long piece about religion, and then I removed the whole article and just had the word "Oh God," and that's the name of that chapter, about how they live in a world of Andean deities, but also in the Catholic world. Then there's a section called Two Sets of Prayers, where I visited an island out in the middle of Lake Titicaca, and the people there, they first do their ceremonies, prayers for rain actually, in a church, and the people of the village become the priests and all that. And then they leave the church and they carry their little idols, or what do you call them? Little Jesus and Marys?
Statuettes, yeah.
What do you call them?
They're the statuettes, but they're called...
I never remember the word. Any practicing Catholics here?
Survived
You survived.
Catholicism, they're called. I'm drawing blank.
Yeah,
They
they
do them
do.
on the Pueblos here too, they walk around with St. Francis and all that.
Yeah, but what do they? Anyway, so they carry these things.
It begins with a B, I think. But here it begins with a B, but forget it.
So they carry these things up to the top of the island where there's old Inca or pre-Inca shrines, and then they do prayers again. But the difference between them doing it in a closed church or out in nature where they can see the whole lake. And I had a chance to photograph that. I didn't know that what was going on, but being a photographer, you just go along with it, and then over time you realize what it is. Then trucking across the Andes, because when I first went there, that was the way to travel. You get on the back of a truck and take your chances. And we got to festivals, we got to places. So and then after that is Keros on the far side of the mountains. Now, are you the guy who's been to Keros? You are a friend of Holly's? Okay, then your name is
Jeff
Pena.
Jeff Della Pena.
Della Pena. And I figured it was you then.
Umaksutiki.
Was that?
I said Umaksutiki, Jeff
Oh,
Della
yeah.
Pena.
Sutiki, that's it.
Sutiki, right.
So you've been to Keros?
A couple times.
Yeah.
And you're going next year.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Briefly, yeah.